you mentioned you're almost at 50% premiums on let's say some of the Eagles. Are you able to maybe capture some of that premium on the upside or does that premium go away when everybody starts to sell into that market as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's something I faced too when I was buying. I saw silver was 18. It looked like it was a great buy. I didn't want to pay, let's say $18 over spot for a silver eagle. I didn't want to pay $36 for a silver eagle. And I think it's important that people speculate on the silver and gold price, but not on premiums, because premiums could go away. And let's say, for example, silver went up from 18 to 30, and I was right. I was like, okay, great, I made the big call. But for example, silver eagle premiums went down. So now let's say it's now at $18. Now let's say it normalizes and it's $4 now. I could actually lose money there, even though I made the right call on silver and gold. So what I personally did on my end is I actually used a subsidiary company called One Gold. And what One Gold is, it's the online investment platform that allows you to buy vaulted positions of gold, silver, and platinum. And the reason I did that is you have the supply chain issues on the Silver Eagle side, on the retail products, but you don't have that supply issue on the 1,000-ounce silver bar market. So One Gold is currently selling silver for 2% over spot, so roughly 36 cents. As I mentioned, we're buying it for 34 cents. We're making pennies on this. Mm-hmm. So basically, I bought silver there. I own it. I have title to it. It's insured. It's audited. And then my thought too, I like physical too as well, but I just don't want to touch anything at these premiums. One Gold actually offers a redemption option where you could redeem your silver for retail products and you would pay the then current premium. So my thought is maybe in the next year or 2 or 3, Silver Eagle premiums go down and I could easily swap out this One Gold position directly for Silver Eagles.
Mm-hmm. So obviously, you're going to be talking as the business manager, let's say for APMEX, but walk us through some of the thinking around the metals ETFs. There's a lot of people that see, let's say GLD, SLV, PSLV as a very attractive option, almost like One Gold. So what are the main differences between investing in an ETF like that versus an unallocated, non-segregated program?
Yeah, so let me first start by talking about the GLD and SLV. I think those are massively different than like the PSLV. But the GLD and SLV, if you read the prospectus too, you'll see that the metal is not insured, which I think is one of the biggest downsides about that too. Because obviously, with One Gold, as I mentioned, it's insured. If you have physical, you get to determine where you put it. Maybe it's not insured, but you have direct ownership. You get to put it in wherever you feel the safest. But, like I mentioned, not insured. The thing that you'd hate to happen is, let's say you get into gold, you get into silver through the GLD or SLV, you see the metals go up, and for whatever reason, this vault gets broken into, the metal gets stolen, something happens to the metal. Let's say, it gets damaged or something like that. And you find out that your metal is now worth nothing. So, I mean, that's one of the biggest concerns too with the GLD and SLV. Another thing too is you actually don't have direct ownership of gold. So if you look at this prospectus, if you buy a share of the GLD, it says you have ownership in a trust and the trust owns gold. So you're one step removed from the gold. And then the third thing too is it's basically, it could be held at a custodian, sub-custodian, or sub-custodian of a sub-custodian. So you lose kind of track of where exactly your gold is there. Some people say, does it even exist? I can't say for certain. Obviously, I've never seen that gold, but there's a lot of people skeptical about this. So that's the GLD and SLV. I personally would not touch those. Something like the Sprott PSLV, I think is much better if you want to go through one of those options. It is backed. I think, it just depends on really what's the best solution for you. I think with something like One Gold, it's great because you have different funding options. You could do check, you could do bank wire, you could do ACH. Let's say you decide you don't want that gold, you could easily do a withdraw transaction, and then we'll send funds same day. So you could even get your wire the same day, which could be a little bit better than depending on your broker too and where you're holding some of this stuff. And then I think with One Gold, it probably offers the best redemption option ever. I mean, you could redeem in as little as 1 gram of silver, or you could get something like a monster box of gold eagles. So you get to choose whatever product you want. But like I said, it really depends on your own outlook. I mean, obviously the Sprott products are great as well, but I would not touch the GLD and SLV.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to go back to what you were talking about. How can they operate a metals vault without being insured, or is it insured for them but not for you? Walk us through a bit more of that, if you can.
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest, but like if you look at the prospectus and that's what it says, it's basically it's not insured, which I don't know. I mean, they probably have their own reasons for it, but I think that's one of the big things that you need to be certain of. If you're storing metal in some other vault, you want to make sure it's insured. You want to see that insurance, and One Gold metal is insured either by Lloyd's of London if it's in the U.S., Canada, or U.S., London, or Switzerland. And then if it's in Canada, it's actually at the Royal Canadian Mint, so it's insured by the Royal Canadian Mint. And we also have an auditor come by twice a year too. So this is an independent top 5 auditing firm. They look at the metal, they count it, make sure it's all there. And then every month we publish inventory reports on the One Gold site. So you can look at it, you can see which bars are there, who made the bars, the purity, the serial numbers, and so on like that. But I think you need a couple pieces of control if you want to have a vaulted solution like that, because obviously you can't actually hold and touch the metal. So you want to make sure that you have all these controls in place. And then the last thing too is do you trust the company? Do you trust APMEX to run One Gold? If you do, great. If you don't, then maybe you look somewhere else. Do you trust GLD? And I believe it's ran by State Street and HSBC. Do you trust those banks? Do you not? I mean, it's up to everyone else to decide.